Hello, dear viewer. Welcome once again. Thank you for finding the time to join us on another exciting episode of Talk, Share, and Inspire. And today we are still going to have a money conversation. Last time we talked about budgeting and saving, and closely tied to budgeting and saving is debt. Do you have a debt? If you're like me, anytime I have a debt, I feel very unsettled. I just want to pay the debt. See, even the Bible says in the book of Proverbs 22 verse 7 that the debtor is a slave to the lender. So I am joined today by two very able guests. They are financial analysts. They are going to tell us about debt management. They are going to tell you what to do with your current debts and probably how to avoid debts. My name is Erica Okeyo. It's my pleasure to be your host once again. So allow me to introduce my guests for today. How are you guys?
Fine, thank you.
Welcome so much. I'm fine. You guys look smart. You look like
Thank you.
You have figured out life. I hope you'll help us to figure out our debt situation.
We are figuring it out.
Yeah, so we'll figure out together.
Yeah.
So thank you so much for coming to Talk, Share, and Inspire.
Thank you.
So I want you guys to introduce yourselves. Tell us who you are and tell us what you do. So I'll start with you, Jim.
All right. My name is Jim Omolo. My background is in finance. I studied economics and accounting. Currently, I work as an independent financial consultant in Nairobi, Kenya.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Jim.
Thank you.
A nice good morning, everyone. And I'm Osare Chadwick. I did business in school. At the moment, I'm practicing as an auditor with the government of Kenya.
Wow.
Yeah.
You guys are very serious, huh? Maybe just before we actually go to that, I'm interested to know, your background is econ, your background is business. Is that what you wanted to do? Have you always been passionate about economics?
Well, I like business from high school, especially. As you grow, you manage your ambitions and your dreams.
Oh, you were like us at first I wanted to be an air hostess. At some point I wanted to be a lawyer. Then these days I welcome people to my YouTube channel.
Well, initially I think I wanted to be a doctor, then turned to a lawyer, then settled on business, and I really enjoy what I do.
Okay. Oh, awesome. How about you, Chedi?
Okay, me. Mine is different. Growing up, I think I loved power in a sense. So growing up, I used to admire people who are called school inspectors because I was growing up in the village, and the most powerful people I knew were the people who were teaching me in school. So I used to wonder, there are some people who are more powerful than teachers in that when they're in school, teachers are running around, are fixing things. So I wanted to be a school inspector.
Is that a prefect?
I don't know. There are people
I guess from Ministry of Education.
From Ministry of Education.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's what I wanted to be. As I grew up, I realized there was someone who was more powerful than a school inspector, who was a DC. So I wanted to be a DC as I grew older. In high school, I started realizing that engineers and doctors had money, so I started desiring to be a doctor or an engineer. But I'm not sure whether it's fortunately or unfortunately, I did not score an A plane. So I went to School of Business.
School of Business.
So, but I think I love what I do because it still gives me some power in that when I go to an organization, I interact with heads of departments and the CEO, and they run around, yet I'm a junior officer.
Yeah, and that's why you guys are here today,
Yeah.
It's because you are powerful. You've managed. Some of us, when it comes to finances, we struggle. So you guys will help us break that down in terms of debt management. So I just want us to go right into the conversation, and probably I'll start with you, Jim, and you'll also probably tell us at some point, have you been a lender or have you lended someone money, or have you been indebted, something like that? So first of all, please tell us, what are some of the debts that young people are likely to incur?
I guess what really comes to mind really quick in our age is mobile loans, because of the ease of access and the kind of promotion or advertisement that the lenders give them. It's very easy to get into a mobile loan. It's more like the quickest fix. I guess there is also the traditional bank loans, which are not becoming as popular, probably more popular with large organizations or companies. And then there's also the SACCO wave, a savings and a credit cooperative society, where people get loans for development, education, emergencies, and so on and so forth.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think you are probably one of the loans that we mostly have as young people in this country are student loans.
Student loans.
I think that is the very first loan I had, and I struggled paying it.
Do you still have it?
No, I finished.
Cleared?
I cleared paying. Yeah.
I'll not talk about myself because the government may come looking for me. So yeah, those are some of the mobile money loans, the ones that are very easy to access. And I'm also thinking of, in our situation currently in Kenya, we have the telecommunication company Safaricom that offers, very quick loans. Fuliza, let's say I'm trying to buy something,
Yes.
and I do not have money, I'm able to get that. So those are some of the loans. Car loans, I think, as well. Your bank loans to buy a car and stuff like that. So we want to actually now go. First of all, let's find out: is that a good thing? Is it okay to have loans, to take loans?
Well, ideally, no one wants to owe someone anything.
Have you owed someone money?
I have.
Oh, in what capacity?
I have, but probably on a very short term. You probably had an emergency, and sometimes you cannot access your money at the time you really want it, depending on the amount and so on and so forth. So I have been on the other side of owing someone money and hoping that I keep my word to pay it at the appointed time. Yeah, but I think certainly it's not a bad thing to have a debt. It just depends on for what purpose. The purpose of the debt really justifies the debt or not.
Okay, so tell us, what are some of the good purposes of having a loan?
I would imagine, for instance, you mentioned student loans, educational purposes, some of us or some people could not have gone to school without loans. I think even in my case, I didn't have a student loan in campus, thankfully.
Wow, must be nice.
But
for some of us without the student loan would sleep hungry.
I know in high school, my parents, because they were financing many other things at the same time, they took loans to take me to school. So I think that's really a good thing. It's
a loan for education purpose.
Education purpose.
Okay.
You could also think of a mortgage, depending on the state of life you find yourself. I know of people who, because they are worried of the influences their children are susceptible to in their environment or where they stay, they decide to get a mortgage so that they find better accommodation, for their families. Yeah, so I think
it's good depending on the purpose.
Depends on the purpose.
So now let's talk about should I call it the bad purpose? Bad debts.
Yeah, okay. Probably adding on to what he's saying, even though other loans are necessary, but the truth is most of the loans we have are not necessary. Even in the event that you want to take a mortgage, most of us take mortgages that we are not able to afford. So even as much as a mortgage is good, but then you are able to afford a mortgage of 2 million and you end up taking a mortgage of 10 million. So the mortgage is, the idea is good, but the results probably has more adverse effects than the benefits it
So
has,
like
yeah.
someone should not take a loan that probably they cannot finance.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, and then I'm
Even if
also-
it's a good loan.
Okay. Oh,
Yeah.
all right. That's a
Yeah.
very important point to note. And
Yeah.
I'm also just thinking of bad loans, you know. Say, even, you know, the mobile app loans that are very easy to access. So let's say I need this dress, or I need to, you cannot relate, of course.
No, I can't relate. I can't relate.
You've taken a loan to buy a garment,
No, I've not taken a loan to buy a garment,
but you've loaned someone to buy a garment.
No. But okay, I have an experience with mobile loans. Okay, out of school, I got a job, and I think I will reveal how much I used to make. My first job, I used to make 40,000.
40,000 Kenya shillings. So it's
shillings.
around $400.
So I used to probably fairly survive well on that amount, and then I got another job afterwards, and the pay increased by a lot, and then you know what happened is, even as much as I was able to survive on 40, I was not able to survive on more.
Oh,
So what I used
what
to
happened? What changed?
I don't know, my dreams and the things.
Dreams of being powerful.
Yeah, I really don't know what happened, but the truth is I was not able to survive on it. So what I used to do is, for around 6 months, that was in maybe 2018 or something, I used to survive on KCB M-Pesa.
What?
So I would get my pay the loan, and then take another one.
Take another loan.
And then what happened is, after a while, I realized that every month I needed more. Because if you take a loan of, let's say, 50,000 this month, you will need 56 to pay it. So you know so every month
That's
you are
a lot of
running
interest.
into a deficit.
Yeah.
So progressively it went to 70, it went to 80, and then I realized, wow, I am losing it.
Okay.
But though, as a person, I prefer owning the bank than owing. I don't owe any friend any money. Yeah, so I don't want debt to interfere with my personal relationships, but I dealt with it. I made a deliberate decision that I want to progressively reduce.
Hold that thought for a minute, okay? And you see, as you've said, you'd take 50,000, maybe around $500, and you have to pay $506, something like that.
Yeah.
And I have seen, or I have had instances where being indebted, you owe someone money, can contribute to mental health problems. You are stressed because you need to pay up. Is that something you experienced?
Okay, basically, I think I was not stressed.
Oh,
But I was concerned.
okay.
Yeah, but I was not stressed. So I just had a sit down, a personal meeting, a meeting between me, myself, and I, and we had a conversation and agreed that we cannot live like this.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so now I want us to just still around the same point of taking a lot of debts. Now you've gotten to a place where you have bad debt management. And now maybe Jimmy will tell us, what are some of the consequences of bad debt management?
Certainly, like he says, you know, you don't have peace of mind. It also eats into your own money.
Yes.
You know, so you're actually making to finance someone else or to profit someone else. Because if you imagine the amount of money that banks or, you know, the mobile money lenders make out of a small loan, it's significantly high. And you know, if you take cumulatively everyone who takes a loan from them, it's crazy profits without much sweat. So certainly for you as an individual, you hurt your future. You cannot plan because you know you're always pressed to repay. And of course, most of these debts have timelines. And in case an emergency comes your way, you know, you're one fall short of being bankrupt.
Yes,
or,
yes,
you know,
yes.
seeking for some major help, or even asking for a bigger loan, you know, which
pay the loan.
to pay the loan,
Rob Peter to pay
and
Paul.
attend to your emergency,
Yes,
you know, and that can really hurt your financial well-being.
Yes.
And I think certainly as human beings, there is much peace and comfort that comes with knowing that you can fend for yourself. Yeah.
Awesome. You know, one thing that is coming out from whatever, there's one thing I've picked, that one way of probably managing bad debt is understanding the interest rates. You know, how much, I think you also like said it, because you see that you've said that you sat down and so if I borrow 50,000 or $500, I have to pay 506. So these mobile money lending apps are making a lot of money. So it seems like
it's more of 560 than 560.
506. Oh yeah, 506. Yeah, 560. True.
Yeah,
Thank you
sure.
so much for
Dollars. Let me give an example. Let's say you take a loan of 1 million Kenya shillings. That's $10,000, and the interest rate is 10% per annum.
Okay.
I'll use simple interest because I'm not able to calculate compound interest of it. So if you have to pay it within a year on a reducing balance, at the end of the year you will pay less than 100,000, because the first month you pay 10% times 1/12, and then it reduces over time. So at the end of the year you'll end up paying like 1.1 million. But if you are to pay it for 10 years, then at the end of the first year you'll pay like a principal of 100,000 and the interest for the first year of 100,000. For the second year, it means your principal is 900. Interest on 900 is 90. So over time you accumulate 190, 80. Over 10 years period, you'll find that you'll have paid interest of around maybe 700,000, 800. So
more than even like almost equivalent to what you.
Yeah, sure. So if you have a debt, you have to ensure that you pay it within the shortest time possible.
Okay.
Yeah. So what you do is, because every time you pay a loan, you first of all you offset the interest, and then you pay the principal. So if you have accumulated an interest of, if you are paying 100,000 and your interest is 80,000, the first payment goes to the 80, and then the principal reduction is 20.
Do you think budgeting can help someone avoid debt, Jim?
I think so. I think what is equally saying is, the simpler your life, the easier it is for you to manage other expectations like debt. I think if you're in debt, it's important for you to know the terms and conditions of your debt. You know, there is that debt that even comes for collateral, which could be your property or something that you hold so dearly that probably took you so much time to get to acquire. So it's important to really know the terms and conditions, but equally it's important to plan. And you can just plan for that if you have a budget, you know. So you plan, of course, you list, if at all there are many, all the debts you have, and, you know, prioritize depending on which is the most expensive. You plan and see how much can I be paying for this every month. And that only works well when you have a budget, you know, so that you also, you know, your life is not going to stop because you have a debt. Your life has to certainly continue. So you got to know how much on a monthly or bi-weekly basis do I need to send towards my, you know, my debt, and of course the interest. And I think
so you even budget for paying up the debt.
Yes.
Okay.
And I think ultimately, if you find yourself in a fix and you cannot afford, it's better to renegotiate the terms and conditions with your lender.
Okay.
You know,
Okay.
to something that is comfortable because your life still has to continue.
Okay.
Yeah, I think I would like to. He said it, but I would just want to lay emphasis.
Double check on it.
Yes. I think as you budget, he mentioned, the first thing you need to do is you have to know your debts. You know, at times you owe your sister, but you disregard it. You first of all, before you budget, you have to know all your debts, and then even as you budget, you start with the easiest debt to pay, so that it allows you a fiscal space to offset the other budgets that maybe the other debts that take longer and probably are more significant in nature.
Okay, so we've talked about budget in two senses, right? That one way to avoid debt, first of all, let me budget, not to avoid debt really, but to manage debt, is budget for my expenses and see if I can reduce the debt. And then also budget to pay my debts.
Yeah, sure, but avoid debt. If you have debt, then you manage.
Okay,
yeah,
but avoid debt,
yeah, sure.
if at all necessary, avoid debt. Are there any tips apart from budgeting? Because I'm also just thinking, like, what are some of the things somebody can do to avoid being, having a lot of debts?
Debt.
Yes.
I think, especially in our age, we need to be more willing to wait.
Okay. Yeah, please expound on that really well.
I think, sometimes we create imaginary emergencies.
What does that look
you
like?
really wanted to get this phone, you can't afford it then. If you waited for probably some 3-4 months, you could save up and get it without getting into debt. Like right now, I think in our country, there is a strong wave of people receiving funds in advance, and they call it lipa pole pole, which means you pay bit by bit, spread over several months. And if you imagine the cost they pay for that arrangement, it's probably double the price of that phone.
Yeah, you could have just saved up and
so
it after a few months.
it's worth waiting. I think the other thing would be planning ahead. I think even if you're not in debt, having a budget is always ideal. It shows you where your money goes, and you can tell yourself what you really want to do. You can better align your goals with your life, and so on and so forth. And also, of course, the elephant in the room has always been impulse buying.
Say it. We want to demolish that elephant.
I think if you recognize that's your weakness, you really want to try and avoid spaces that will expose you.
That's very interesting, because there's a very good way of justifying it. You're like, let me buy it now. I don't know about next month. It may be more expensive, which is true, but still I can do without it.
Yeah, probably. Another thing is also we should avoid maybe living for others.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, you are financing a lifestyle you cannot afford because all your friends are affluent. Yeah, so you should accept that your income is not able to give you the lifestyle your friend is living, and be comfortable with it. I think when you do that, you're able to, in a large extent, avoid debt.
You don't have to feel embarrassed
to be walking when others are driving, while your peers are driving.
Yeah, and then also probably the ability to say no.
Okay.
We are living in an African setup, and there are needs everywhere.
Okay.
At times you feel your friend has a more pressing need than your needs. Of course, probably a biblical example is it in the early church, people sold their property to take to church, but I do not know how practical it is. But
in 2024.
Yeah, sure. So I think if you can just develop the ability, people like us who have legs struggle with saying no. So it's possible that I can go into Fuliza to please Jim.
Okay. So ability to willing to wait. I got. We should be willing to wait. Should have the practice the ability to say no. There's one conversation we once had here at Talk, Share and Inspire, and the guest was like, we should love saying no. You should love how to say no. So love how to say no even to debt and budget, and also live a life that you can afford. You do not have to please others. That's very nice. And as we come to the tail end of our conversation today, I want you to address a young person who's probably indebted. They have a lot of debts in their late 20s, and they're like, you know what, this is the moment I want to have a turnover. Maybe you can pick from some of the lessons you have learned and inspire them.
I think it's first to make a firm decision, you know, that you want to get out of it. There is a popular saying that he who goes a borrowing goes a sorrowing. So you really need to, you know, determine in your mind and heart that I want to stop.
Determine in your mind that you want to stop this.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like, you know, you're fully persuaded that it's not profiting you. Of course it doesn't. But then also I think one of the best financial advice I ever got was poverty is not necessarily a bad thing. It actually shows you what you can live without.
Oh,
you know.
I'm not sure I agree, but
of course,
second statement.
It's not necessarily.
I love the second statement that it shows you the things you can live without. But
I think it depends on where you are laying emphasis, whether it's on poverty or necessarily the things you can live without.
I prefer to lay on this other the second part.
Because I think we are not, our worth is not in our possessions. Our worth is not in what we have presently. And life balances itself. The things that, you know, stress you today, you hope to acquire them right now and then. Life has a way of, you know, bringing them along the way. So certainly not having them today should not make you feel that you can never have them. Yeah, you know, you just need to trust the process.
Awesome.
And of course, as you check on your debts and make arrangements toward paying them, you should equally limit yourself from taking any more debt.
Awesome. Yeah. Thank you so much, Jim. We are pressed for time, but Chedi, just a very quick parting shot as we end this conversation.
I think the example I gave, I was able to live with 40,000 and not able to survive on more. To avoid debt, live within your means.
Awesome, awesome. Wow. Thank you so much for those inspiring, thought-provoking conversations. That's all we had today in our episode of Talk, Share and Inspire. I hope you picked insights and inspirations that you can incorporate in your life to avoid debt. I personally believe that it is possible to avoid debt and to live within your means. May God bless you, and see you once again in another episode of Talk, Share and Inspire. Bye-bye.